Alright, so I'm a bit bummed out today. Kevin Sugihara from Warner Brothers Entertainment rejected my idea for a retro video game themed park. I mean, I get it, but damn! But whatever. The show must go on, as they say. Welcome, guys, to another installment of Retrospectives-Be-Damned. Today I'm going to be talking about video game manuals, or instructions, as they used to say. Now, for those of you who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, I honestly don't blame you. Manuals have been gone for, like, a while now. But you know, I do remember back in the day, when I was a kid, and how it was like to get a brand new video game.
Alright, sweetie, so we're on the way home now so you can play your new game. Why don't you sit here and read the instructions and let Mommy make some phone calls.
Plumbing for $100? For the job I'm asking? Get out of town. Give me a break, Mike. I had to pick up the meat at the deli and visit the courthouse. So sorry I didn't have time to get your socks.
You get the idea. But now, lately, manuals have been poop.
In mi cuatro no dice manual Puerto mi Henuera.
Told you. Poop. But enough recreations, let's take a look at my memories of video game manuals from 3 different key points of my life. First, let's start off with my childhood. The Nintendo 64 was the earliest set of memories I have on my appreciation for manuals. They were really well designed. Even the shitty ones look cool. The ones that were amazing had really cool features to them. Shadows of the Empire gave an explanation on all the acts and levels from the game, and had some really great photos to go along with them. Turok had a comic book in it. The comic was brief, but a cool way to set up the game. Star Fox had some awesome artwork, and was one of the few games I used the notes sections for. These are so great. I really took them for granted when I was a kid. On PlayStation, a lot of manuals came with some really awesome extras. Final Fantasy 8 and 9 came with mini strategy guides to help you get started off in the game. They were basically advertisements for the full guides, but I actually ended up buying the Final Fantasy 8 one. The original Resident Evil had something mysterious in it that internet forums would talk about for years to come. Edward Dewey was mentioned in the manual, but never shown in the game. Unless you count the severed hand at the beginning. Just like with the Nintendo 64, I wrote in the notes section for some games. I have this one story about the notes section from the game Metal Gear Solid. I wrote something in character of Solid Snake. It was something like, "I don't know what the hell is going on, but I don't trust the Colonel." A few years later, I lent the game to a friend of mine. My friend's dad was apparently a bit nosy of his son's stuff, and he actually looked through the manual of the Metal Gear Solid game I lent him. He saw the word hell in the notes section that I wrote in, and got so pissed that he broke my copy of the game, thinking his son bought it and that it had bad language in it. He later found out it was mine and bought me the greatest hits version of the game to replace it. And they also apologized. Gee, thanks. As a teenager, I encountered some cool stuff, but I was sort of getting out of gaming at the time. I was in a band and really didn't play as many video games as I used to. I did remember how cool it was to find the Eternal Darkness game disc in the middle of the manual instead of the disc slot. It was the developer's attempt to mimic what happens in the actual game when the sanity meter goes down and weird things start to happen within the game. Spooky. I also remember the first time I was bummed out with a manual. Metal Gear Solid 3 was re-released as Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence and included a lot of extra features added to the game. I was so excited for it, I even bought the limited edition version. Even though I enjoyed all the content featured in the game, I couldn't help but feel like we were given a very shitty, lackluster manual. That was really only the beginning. During the last generation and leading to the current one, manuals were slowly becoming obsolete. In-game tutorials were explaining everything players need to know about the game, and manuals were just becoming repetitious. If you look at the manuals for the Assassin's Creed and Mass Effect series, they just got worse and worse. Then they eventually went away. Also, why does Brotherhood have a table of contents? Why would this happen? To be fair, I kinda stopped caring about manuals by the time they were disappearing. I really don't have any cool manual stories for last generation and this generation. I would just kinda like flip through them, you know, look at them a little bit and then never really stare at them again. Recently I've been thinking about this newer generation of gamers that won't ever get to experience reading a video game manual in the car. I mean, sure they have like the internet in their pockets and stuff like that, but there's something about holding the manual in your hand, something physical, that kind of just felt like the icing on top of the cake. But before I go, I want to check out these online manuals I've been hearing about. Games these days, instead of having a physical manual, have an online one that people can download and print and keep the dream alive if they want. And I happen to have a video game that I just got that has one of those online manuals, so let's check it out. Alright, so it says here, to view or download, go to this website. Alright, let's go ahead and type this in. Alrighty, so go ahead and finish typing this up and let's see what we get.